Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another tutorial. Today, we're going to have a think about eddies.
Continuing with the Whitewater 101 series, or you might call it Whitewater Debunked, today we will be having a think about eddies. So to start with, let's break down what an eddy is. An eddy forms whenever there is an obstruction to the normal downhill motion of a river. This obstruction could be a rock, a tree, a sudden curve in the bank, even a hydraulic feature of some kind, or anything else that might cause the river to divert its natural course of least resistance. And eddies can be anything from the size of a house to a grain of rice, and anything in between. For the purposes of this video, we'll mostly be focusing on eddies that you can at least get a boat into. Beginners are often taught that eddies are the calm spots in a river, like rest stops along the way. And while many eddies are calm comparative to the flowing current, some can be quite pushy. This is because an eddy is actually formed by a whole bunch of factors that you should probably ask a fluid dynamic engineer about, causing the water to infill the negative space behind an obstruction. As a result, some eddies can be called recirculating, i.e. they have a tendency to spit you back out into the current, while others, particularly those after larger gradient drops, can have both horizontal and vertical motion, being termed boily. In terms of their constituent parts, an eddy can be identified by an obstruction to the flow, from the leading edge of which will flow an eddy line, or eddy fence, depending on which part of the world you are from. A turbulent spiralling flow, where the main current and the eddy itself meet. Behind this is the eddy, whose flow, as described, might be apparent in the direction contrary to the river's main current. Having defined an eddy, let's think about them from a paddler's perspective. We talked about this a bit in the crossing current episode, so feel free to check that out after this video. Again, the aim of this video is not to talk down other teaching methods, but hopefully to add some context and nuance to your existing knowledge. When looking at eddies, beginners are often taught to enter and exit the eddy as high upstream as possible, cranking on a hard edge to snap the boat into an upstream facing direction as soon as possible. Whilst this has value in the sense that it allows you to see what is going on the river behind you, and arguably means you can break out and respond quickly if the need arises, there are also several reasons why a lower entry and exit point might be more appropriate. Firstly, from the point of view of a beginner, whose ability to read river features, and particularly the sometimes unclearly defined eddy line, is still developing, this high, snappy entry might place them in a vulnerable position, spinning on the eddy line. Not only that, but a person sat at the top of the eddy with limited room might find it harder to generate momentum to cross the eddy line and leave. Secondly, from a group perspective, being at the top of the eddy may be unhelpful. Particularly on steep rivers, the best vantage point for looking upstream is likely to be further down the eddy, as this will allow you to see back up over horizon lines better. As well as that, if you are encouraging people to join you in your eddy, particularly in a must-make, don't go any further context, sitting yourself at the top of the eddy forces your friends to go further downstream of you, perhaps risking blowing out of a smaller eddy. An alternative is to position yourself deep in the eddy. This potentially offers a better view upstream, enables you to generate momentum out of the eddy if necessary, but also means you are a beacon for your buddies, attracting them to the deepest and hopefully safest part of the eddy. Similarly, When exiting an eddy, charging out as high as possible is often taught. Contextually, to make a particularly demanding ferry or even an attainment, this might be necessary. Equally, however, exiting carefully from the middle or bottom of an eddy might enable a more controlled descent. Again, from a beginner perspective, encouraging them to make a decisive perpendicular exit halfway down the eddy, for instance, is far less likely to cause them to flip than encouraging a higher exit where the relative currents and turbulence are that much greater. One thing that remains consistent is the need to preserve momentum through the eddy line, preventing you from getting caught up in the confused currents there. Unless, of course, that's your intention, and you're hoping to see some sky. Regardless, hopefully this video has given you some thoughts to chew on, and things to experiment with next time you hit the river.
Thank you very much for watching this tutorial video. I hope you found it enjoyable and informative. If you've been following any of my content and you're enjoying it, then please do consider subscribing. And if you're already subscribed, then make sure you're hitting that bell notification icon so that you get informed whenever I have a new video coming out. I have new videos every Sunday at 12:30 GMT. Thank you very much.
Oh no! Oh golly gee! Willikers! Look at that hole! Oh boy! Oh, you better not get in there!